Samurai Captain America is in the DorkLair! Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. If you enjoy this video, please leave a comment and don't forget to hit that subscribe button down there in the corner. Now, let's take a look at this noble warrior. This is the Manga Realization line, similar to the movie Realization line for Star Wars, but this line is for the Marvel characters, the comic book characters. And I have to say, I got an excellent deal on this one. This was a Cyber Monday, Black Friday, I think it was Cyber Monday deal on Amazon. And this guy was $20, like $20 and change. So, I mean, these things usually sell for something like $70, or, you know, you might be able to find them for discounted in around like 55, 60, but it's going to be pretty rare to find one for $20 unless you're picking up a knockoff. You know, this one was sold directly by Amazon, so I was pretty confident that it was a full-blown regular release, not a knockoff. My overall impression of this guy is phenomenal. This is my first one. I haven't had any of these figures. The details on this thing are amazing. The articulation is really good. This is one of those figures where kind of everything comes together, and all the different aspects of it are just done really well. I'm super impressed with this line, and it's going to be really hard for me to not pick up some more of these, especially the Star Wars ones. I definitely want some of those now. The packaging you can see in the background is quite nice. I like it very much. So it's like a two-sided box that, you know, that the piece on the left side is the box itself, the top, and then, you know, it's kind of one of these deals. So, you know, decent packaging. I like it. It's for a big figure, it's very compact, and I think the packaging looks really good. Good artwork on it and whatnot. So let's get him in a standing up position so that he's full height, and take a look at him next to a couple other figures so you can see some scale here. So first up, I have a Mythic Legions Knight from the 1.0. And a Mezco 112 Collective Iron Man, which I did a review for in the past. And I think for these two, you know, these are 6-inch scale figures, but both of those lines are known for being kind of larger. So it's even bigger than those. And I think it fits in pretty well with Mythic Legions, and probably not so much with Mezco, because this is one of the tallest Mezco figures out there. I think the new Tactical Batman might be up there too in height, but it's, you know, this thing is in a scale all its own. It's a 7-inch scale. It's probably going to scale better with some of those like NECA 7-inch figures and other figures of that size. And then just a couple other things so you can see. Here he is next to a Black Series Ben Kenobi, whose robe I have on Mace Windu maybe. And then here he is next to SH Figuarts Kylo Ren. So pretty massive compared to these other 6-inch scale figures. But that's not going to stop me from putting them right there on the shelf with a lot of my Mythic Legions figures. Because, quite frankly, the style fits in as well. I mean, it's a more of a medieval kind of thing than the current, you know, modern stuff with guns and blasters and futuristic things. So, to me, this fits in with the Mythic Legions much more than anything else. So taking a look at the details on this guy, he's really nice. If you look really closely, you'll see that inside that helmet sculpt, there's actually a face behind there. There's a guy wearing a face. Like, even though this mask, this front part looks like kind of gold flesh or something like that, with teeth and whatnot, under there it looks as if there's an actual regular human being wearing this overall helmet, which is really cool. So that makes this front part just this like scary, knight or samurai's helmet. Nice metallic paint there on the wings with lots of good detail. Same thing with the A. All sorts of scalloped armor. Some weathering in there. You can see in the hands there's black paint wash in there. Really nice details. Nicely detailed figure. This this piece right here on his waist is this separate piece. If you pop his torso off, you can see that there's this is a separate piece that'll come off. Doesn't look right without it, but it's total separate piece, which actually kind of frees things up for a little bit of articulation, knowing that this thing can move around a bunch. If you want to see a breakdown of this figure, check out Darth Goody. His video of this guy is really good. It's like a box opening, and then he breaks the whole thing down and disassembles it, and you can see all the different parts. These are free-floating pieces here, as are, I think these ones are pegged into the legs, and they're free-floating right here. These purple ones. Get a closer look at the boots. Lots of good detail on this guy. Great colors. I didn't really expect to like it as much as I do. It's just a great figure. Let's take a look at the articulation. So the head on him can go back that far and move forward that much. And there's a little piece on the chin that's actually on a ball peg in there. So this thing moves around. So you can kind of get it in a position to look best. And then the head moves side to side, and it kind of does the chicken thing this way. So a lot of good articulation in the head. And then the arms, this thing's on a ball joint up in the arm. You can see that right there. Okay, so that's articulated, and then his arm can move up, and this can kind of shift around with his arm. His arms can go all the way around. His elbows are double jointed, and check this out. I mean, this is some impressive, for a figure this bulky, for the arms to be able to do this. That's some impressive double jointed elbows right there. Really, really nice on there. I can see why this line is a favorite of a lot of people. There's another joint up there. It doesn't fully rotate around. It gets kind of caught, but there's a joint there, and then there's a joint at the wrist as well that moves a little bit. It doesn't, again, those two joints don't go all the way around. So this star is actually basically a throwing star that you can put in his hand that comes off his chest. Kind of falls off here and there, like on its own, like you just saw, but it goes right back on. And the wrists, not a ton of movement in the wrists. That's probably one place where there's like a little bit of a weakness in the articulation. They go all the way around, but they just don't rock around very much because that armor gets in the way right there. The crunch, there's not a ton of crunch here. He can go back, though. It's just that there's this armor in the way that prevents him from crunching forward, really. And his legs can kick forward that much. pretty good, actually, if you kind of wedge it in there. And then his knee articulation comes up this far, and his legs can go wide as well. About that far, maybe a little further if you push the limits. But the ankles don't rock far enough really to get in a super wide stance. I'd say about there is where they rock far enough, and then going back and forth this much. And the toes articulate, but they don't really stay up. So I don't know how useful that is. This one does a little better, I think. But yeah, that's the articulation. And then as far as the accessories, so this thing slides into a holder, like a little clasp right here. This almost looks like it would come out, but it doesn't. This is just one sculpted thing. Again, the star on the chest is a weapon. You can see the details on that. And then here's his sword. This is a katana, I assume. 3 colors. You got a nice black handle. There's even a star on the handle. You have gold metal accents, and then the blade itself has a star right here on the hilt. And the blade itself is nice silver with a sheath. I'm sure there's a name for it. I don't know. Not really much. Kind of like a disappointment that there's nothing going on with the sheath. I feel like that should be, based on all the rest of the figure, like that could be painted a little more realistically or something. And then his shield, you can see nicely detailed, lots of good paint. I don't think the star comes off of that one, even though it looks the same. There's some weathering and wash in there. Really nice shield. I like this thing a lot. And then it's got a articulated peg that you can position on his arm, and a handle for him to hold with his hand. So you could potentially just peg it into his arm like this, or you could have him holding it, or you could kind of do both for a really secure fit. And then he also comes with 2 fists. I dropped one. So he comes with 2 fists here. Nicely detailed. He's got a star on the hand. And then he comes with 2 wide open hands. Look at that detail on the palm of that hand. And then he's got the 2 like grasping hands that I have on the figure right now for like grasping the shield, grasping the sword. The hands are really stiff. Like these things are really like, you got to soften those up with a little bit of heat to get anything going with them. But overall, this is an awesome figure. I mean, I like this line. I'm going to have a really difficult time passing down any other deals I see on these things. It's just fantastic. It's just a really, really cool figure. I'm hoping to find some Star Wars ones for decent deals. I know I'm never going to find any of these for $20 ever again, because now that I like it, and I know that I like it, it's just never going to happen. But great figure. I highly recommend it. I think this is, to me, this is one of the best figures I've picked up this year, quite frankly. I like it very much. So, anyway, question of the day. Who would you like to see get that samurai treatment from Tamashii Nations? And so, thanks for watching. Make sure you check out our other videos, like our review of the SH Figure Arts Stormtrooper, the OG Stormtrooper. Find links to the DorkLair Collecting Podcast and our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages in the description below. And may the Force be with you. DorkLair!